seeing who's in the house, in the church, excuse me. And we're, Good morning. Looks like we're starting a little more timely. Welcome to Treasure Coast, Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Stewart. We're a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all religions, gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds to feel included in our congregation. This aligns with our first principle to recognize the worth and dignity of every person. Our Sunday services are broadcast on YouTube, so if you're out of town or unable to attend one Sunday, you can follow the link on the YouTube and be put on the mailing list, or to find out more information, go to our website, which is tcuuc.org. Now please take a moment to find your cell phone and silence it if you can, if you haven't already. Appreciate it, thank you. All right, well, it's time for our highly anticipated announcements. Wonderful. First and foremost, a big thanks to those who help with today's service. Jackie Robbins with our music, and our greeters, Janet Grote, David Gray was helping out today, and our broadcast media coach, Karina Poloni. We extend great thanks to the hospitality team, Marguerite, Joanne, and Florence. We want to, pardon? Betty. And Betty. Thank you. We want to express happy birthday to all who are having birthdays this month. So if you're a November birthday, would you please stand? There we go. Happy birthday. A special birthday cake for you is served today at coffee hour. So happy birthday. It's also followed by our first Sunday of the month congregational meeting in Heston Hall. Which brings me to a special birthday party event occurring this Wednesday at 4 o'clock in Heston Hall for our wonderful Tia Breeding. Is she here yet? Okay. She'll be in soon, I suppose. I haven't been here long, but I know that being the chair of the church board is a very special and honorable and sometimes thankless position to take on. And Tia performs it with seeming ease and dedication, which is what one would expect from a woman who earned the rank of lieutenant colonel in the United States Marine Corps. Tia turns a big 20, plus 30, plus 30. That's 80 wonderful years she's been on the planet. Please come celebrate her and bring an hors d'oeuvre and a beverage on Wednesday the 4th. We not only wish her the happiest of birthdays, but also thank her for her service to our country. There's been an arbor replacement outside. You can see, and a little beautification of some plants on the side. So the arbor is gone from the hurricane and it'll be replaced, hopefully, something as beautiful. We're hosting the post-election wrap-up on Friday, and that's at 2 o'clock in Heston Hall. Bring snacks, beverages, and either your own box of tissues or your party clackers, fireworks, and sparklers. Regardless of the outcome, it will be an important time to be together with our community. So, special event. Thanksgiving event is coming up following the Sunday service on the 24th. There are a couple of things still needed. I think one is stuffing, one is wine, CPAM, and we also need people to help set up and break down. And so if you think you could help out with that, it would be appreciated. Again, CPAM. Okay, we have lunch in Stewart's Veteran Park, downtown, noon. So bring a brown bag lunch and see that. And as always, we have coffee and snacks in the social hall after service today. Our Reverend Bob MacDonald is in the pulpit today, and we look forward to his talk. And it's All Saints Day celebration for us here. And we're ready for our prelude.
Okay.
Jackie. It's time for our chalice lighting. As we kindle this flame, we honor and remember those who have passed on into the mystery. Their brightness lives on in our vision, their courage lives on in our commitments, and their love continues to bless the world through us. And our opening words. These words come courtesy of poet Belinda O'Neill. She's a poet in Northern Ireland, and All Saints' Day is kind of huddled around the Protestants and the Catholic Church, and I assume she's a Catholic woman from Northern Ireland, Belinda O'Neill. We feel these words. We feel your presence, though we can no longer see you. We know you are near us, though through all that we do. You are the warmth we feel in our heart. The memories we share ensures we're never truly apart. You are those whispers we hear when we're in doubt. You are with us to draw from, to help figure things out. You are forever remembered. Your memory within us will eternally stay. To your guiding light, we send our love on this All Souls Day. And now for our first hymn, which is This Little Light of Mine, and it's if you find a hymnal, and it's hymn 118. Oh, stand if you would and are able, please. Thank you. Get up. Get up. Was wonderful. I think they heard it in Port St. Lucie. Nice and loud, wonderful. Let us recite our affirmation, speaking first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak in truth, to help one another. And now, Minister Bob.
The responsive reading is 722 in the back of the hymnal by Stephen Spender. I think continually of those. We'll read this responsively. I think continually of those who were truly great. From the womb remembered the soul's history, through the corridors of light where the hours are suns, endless and singing, whose lovely ambition was that their lips, still touched with fire, should tell of the Spirit clothed from head to foot in song, and who hoarded from the spring branches the desires falling across their bodies like blossoms. What is precious is never to forget the essential delight of the blood drawn from ageless springs, breaking through rocks and worlds before our earth. Never to deny its pleasure in the simple morning light, nor its grave evening demand for love. Never to allow gradually the traffic to smother with noise and fog the flowering of the Spirit. Near the snow, near the sun, in the highest fields, see how these names are feted by the waving grass and by the streamers of white cloud and whispers of wind in the listening sky. The names of those who in their lives fought for life, who wore at their hearts the fire's center. Born of the sun, they traveled a short while towards the sun and left the vivid air signed with their honor. And now our matters of joy, sorrow. We invite you to share yours and hope that you know you were heard and supported. I want to start by mentioning Kitty Rowell is home with COVID. She was to be here yesterday helping the program that she helped design and was to lead with with Jay, and she couldn't make it yesterday. So we get Jay and Jim mixed up, but it's that guy and this guy. They know us well enough to set us straight when we do that, but they're also kind to the minister. Anyhow, that one over there did lead it yesterday and has our gratitude. I also want to mention that you may know or you may not know, I have two sisters in Troy, New York, in their 70s, and they've both been hospitalized with various health ailments. And I hear my mother from a faraway place saying, "You will come back to visit your sisters, won't you?" So that has to happen, but I hope they're better soon. Who else wants to step to the mic and share a matter of joy or sorrow, and be brief and keep it personal? Thank you.
For Kitty, for Jay, for Bob's two sisters.
Good, thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Royce. It's my wife, Sherry Conrad. We just recently got back from Tampa, the Moffitt Cancer Center, and Sherry is celebrating 3 years being cancer-free.
Oh, that's great. That is great. Always good to hear that.
Hello, I'm Jackie, and I have too many sorrows to bring up, but I have a joy, which is that I got called last minute to help out with the 3 high school choirs, Martin, South Fork, and Jensen Beach high school choirs, that were doing a performance last night and today at 4 p.m. And I was flabbergasted. I moved some things around so I could do this. These kids sing better in tune and with more phrasing than I've ever heard in a young group, or three young groups combining together, and the dedication of the choral directors just blew my mind. So it was an incredible joy to actually be involved in this project. It's like an inaugural thing where they're all combining, and I was just stunned. And so it's always, I live to be amazed. And when that happens, it brings me great joy. And it is, sorry, it's happening at 4 o'clock today, Jensen Beach High School.
Hi, I'm Fred Dembowski. I was born in a small town in upstate New York. I mean, some of you haven't seen me in a while. That's because I've had some back issues. But this Tuesday, I'm getting 3 shots in my back that are going to kill the nerves that connect my 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th vertebrae with the muscles. And hopefully my back pain will be gone. The good news is, hopefully I'll be better. The better news is, if I can walk after that more than 200 yards, I'm going to start up the Adventure Club again in January or February.
All right. Thank you, Fred.
Oh, just one more word. For the 2nd year in a row, I missed my grandson's birthday, which was a couple weeks ago in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I usually go, not on his birthday, but on Halloween, because my son-in-law, who's an electrical engineer, does a unbelievable display in Grand Forks, North Dakota, with coffin lids opening and rockers rocking and angels flying around. And it's like big news in North Dakota. Halloween night, they had 1,350 kids come by and see it.
Anyone else? Well, for all those, oh, yes, do feel free to speak, Tia.
Thank you. I'm Tia Breeding. He's always worried that I'm going to step up here, but I'm not going to be very long. First of all, it's a great joy to see Fred back with us. Yay! Secondly, it was a great joy to participate in that wonderful goal setting yesterday, and you did a fabulous job. And I know Kitty did with you, and she wasn't there to do that, but it was Bob's idea with some help from me, and it was wonderful. So there were 23 people there altogether. So we're going to be depending on them and all of the rest of you to implement some of the things we came up with. And my third joy is that when I came this morning, I got the very last parking spot out there. So it was nice to see so many of you there. And we need to start looking at things that we need to do to increase the parking lot.
Thank you, Tia. Thank you. There is a meeting after the service in which we can discuss things like that. Anyone else with another matter that's brief and personal? Well, we always move a stone for those that we don't say out loud, because we all have people we carry in our hearts and worry about. I thought this reading by Abraham Lincoln was appropriate for this morning, so it's my meditation. It's number 586 in the back of the hymnal. The idea of democracy. As labor is the common burden of our race, so the effort of some to shift their share of the burden onto the shoulders of others is the great durable curse of the race. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. Whatever differs from this, to the extent of the difference, is no democracy. Our reliance is in our love for liberty. Our defense is in the spirit which prizes liberty as the heritage of all people in all lands everywhere. Destroy this spirit, and we have planted the seeds of despotism at our own doors. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves and cannot long retain it. Why should there not be a patient confidence in the ultimate justice of the people? Is there any better or equal hope in the world? Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it. Abraham Lincoln. And now moments of silence. Spirit of Life is 123. We hum it once and sing it once. Spirit of Life. Now is the time when we invite your offering. We hope that people experience generosity here, and we hope that we can continue to be offering that because of your generosity, or in part. And so now our morning offering will be received by 2 willing volunteers. Who might they be? This day on the Christian calendar has always meant a lot to me. I think Protestants call it All Saints' Day. I think the Catholics may call it All Souls. Is that the case? Do you know?
Yeah.
I think. Not sure. But anyhow, the point is remembering those who are in our past and may well be in our present because we remember them and don't want them to be in our past. It means a lot to me because I've had so many through my years as a minister who have ministered to me, and I remember them without any effort. I remember them. I chair, I may have mentioned, an alum group from my class of 62, my high school class of 62. But anyhow, I also get emails from that classmates. Some of you get that? It often starts out with "someone remembered you." And then, do I want to be remembered? But what remembering we do together in our group is usually the teachers who just touched us and taught us indelibly. And all of us from that crowd of teachers have such memories of people who obviously cared about us. And for me, from really elementary school up. So this day for me starts with them and comes down to the present with many people in this congregation or who were in this congregation and in spirit I feel still are. So how we're going to do this, we've done this before. We're going to sing hymn 103. We'll sing verses 1 and 2. And then we will stop and have a memorial moment. And by that I mean I will name those in our congregation who have died over the past year or so. Probably people you don't know, some you sure do, but some you don't, because they've been out of the congregation for so long. But we're in it from the beginning and are in it in so many ways. So I will name them. And then I'll invite you, if you want to, we'll just start here and go from the front row to the back, and then to the back, front row to back, front row. I only say it that way so we're not all saying names at the same time. We'll just take a moment, and those who want to name anyone who is still with them but has gone in the past year or so, you can mention that name. Only the name and the relationship, please, for now, this memorial moment. So the hymn is 103, For All the Saints. And for those who can and want to, please stand. And then after we've done our naming, we'll sing the fourth verse.
And you're singing along, right?
Pardon?
You'll give me the tempo when we start. You're singing.
Yeah. We'll listen to it first, and then we'll sing it. And now we'll do these names. I will start with the ones from our congregation from the past year or so. Martha Alfie. I thought maybe you could all remain standing, but if you prefer to sit, that's okay. Martha Alfie, Armin Bud Safelli, John Krickenberger, Ann and Yasha Nozawa, Reverend Dr. Irvin Betts. Any here? Second row. Anyone? Anyone else in the second row? Third row? Anyone else in the back row? Okay. The back row now. Anyone come to mind that you want to mention? Anyone else in the back? Right from the front row here, anyone? Okay. Second row, anybody? Anyone else in the back row? From the front row over here?
Ruth Walsh, lifelong dear friend, and Sheila, friend and neighbor.
Anyone else in this area?
Linda Lebo, friend.
Anyone else?
Rich Rose, my dad.
Oh, yes.
Paul Childs, friend.
Okay, if you'll lead us into the fourth verse. Steals on the ear the distant triumph song, and hearts are brave again, and arms are strong. Please be seated. I don't really have a sermon for you this morning. I have what I would call thoughts, and maybe the title should be, Do I Need Therapy? But I want to push my thoughts in the direction of the nourishment we need to get through the season, to get through the week, and to keep on building in our lives. The names I started with from our history here seemed to me over the year, and I mentioned it a number of times over the past year, we were losing a significant part of our history because Bud was our parliamentarian, or whatever you call that, a constitutional scholar. He was also our arch conservative. He used to tell us if we bring up politics, we can lose our tax exemption as a property. I think it has something to do with our brand of politics, but God love Bud. He and I sat down about 10 years ago to plan his funeral. He died not that long ago. And I asked him if I could read anything from the New York Times. Knowing how he felt about it, he said, well, what do you want to read? I said, anything. And he knew, of course, that I was kidding. And, of course, the Nazawas, we feel their loss. And in the midst of this losing over the past year, someone had the nerve to move to Connecticut. I won't say them out loud. I'll just look into the camera. So the loss took place in more ways than one. Anyway, over the years, I have been fairly clueless as to the meaning of saints and angels and things, symbolic words we use in religion, totally in the realm of mystery and metaphor. I don't really believe in either saints or angels, I know we're sinners. We don't talk about that very much, but we are, and maybe we should talk about that. That means different things to us, I'm sure. But I know saints and angels metaphorically. I know them to be true, real for me, and I'm sure you have a list also. The author we're reading for Understanding the Bible, John Buren's UU scholar and minister, says that there's so much in the scriptures that we can't possibly believe literally. He quotes a Jewish scholar, Buber or Heschel, I forget which, but one of them says the things in there are literally not true, but they are eternally true. Now, that's a mystery, but we'll get more into it, I guess, as we do the book. There's a line in the Christian scripture, the New Testament, Hebrew chapter 11, which is kind of the background of All Saints' Day for Christians, listing the faithful lives that have gone before. It ends with an intriguing line that says, "Those in our past we have called saints are incomplete without us. They have died, but they're incomplete without us." Now, that's really a mystery to me. I know what many who are gone have given me. I can't imagine how I add to them. But at minimum, it suggests that they aren't entirely gone. They are living in me, in us. And how we try to live responsibly, fully, also somehow enriches them, or so we hope it does. So the help I need to get through the week and through this time. I'm tired of hearing words like consequential, existential. I mean, I'm good with existential if it's a school of philosophy that I enjoyed without understanding much, but now it's often attached to the word threat. I'm tired of hearing that, however true it is. I'm tired of hearing about polls. I only want to hear one more poll. And it may take a month to get that poll, but I'm willing to wait for that. So you don't come to church to hear why I'm tired, but I'm sharing it with you anyway, and that's why I'm saying it's not a sermon. So yesterday on CNN, I heard a good doctor, it wasn't Gupta, a primary care physician, say again, I mean, we've been hearing and reading this all over the place, the strain that we're under emotionally, mentally. And he was trying to offer some good advice. He said, don't talk about politics even with the people you agree with. Because if you talk about it and feel good for the moment of the agreement you get, but then you walk away and the fears that you have come back. What if I'm wrong? Wow. What if? What if? I wanted to bring this morning, this is really a digression, but you know, I do that. I wanted to bring that big volume entitled, What If? This week I remembered this. I remembered this. But I forgot that book, What If? I've shown it to you before. It's a book of historians writing how things would have gone differently if something had happened differently. And the one that caught my eye most recently was near the end of the book. I skip around because they're not really in any order. It was about the Nazi code machine called Enigma. Do you know about that? Do you know about it because of Bletchley Park on PBS? That's why what I know about it. It kind of comes down to that. But that small segment on Enigma, what would have happened if we had not figured out, or if bright people had not figured out those codes? And then it told me something I didn't know, and that was the Polish intelligence had figured that enigma out in 1930. Polish intelligence. Now this is a digression from that digression. That reminds me of my brother. My brother, a very bright chemistry professor who hated going to doctors and didn't listen to doctors, and for that we lost him 30 years ago, a fairly young man. He loved to tell Polish jokes. And I tried to tell him, Larry, the Poles are just as bright and just as other than bright as the rest of us. But he had to tell Polish jokes. He also liked to tell dumb blonde jokes. And he said, have you heard the latest dumb blonde joke? And before I could say, Larry, have you noticed my wife's hair color? He would be off on it, and he would enjoy hearing it, and I had to endure hearing it. But anyhow, the Poles had discovered the code in 1930, how to break it. And the Germans thought they could send their messages to all their military around the world in subs, in planes, and not be detected. And the Poles passed on what they learned to the French and to the British, because the Poles and the French were overwhelmed in 39 and 40. Only the British had that. And so we know about it from Bletchley Park and that sort of thing. But the article simply writes, what an important part of World War II and the West victory were the people, many women, people like Alan Turing. We've heard of him because he was the brilliant mathematician who helped get through that, the breaking of the codes, but took his life after the war because of the West's put down of gay people. I mean, a sad PS to that digression. Anyhow, what if? My mind has gone around, what if? What if it doesn't go well this week? And I'm not going to say how it should go. We don't talk politics up here. Right. But what if? What if? I thought of Mexico, Guadalajara. Has anybody been there? You have. Have you been down there looking to emigrate and checking out the American community that's down there? Wow. I've known a couple people from here and from other churches who did that. Now, the only reason I know about Guadalajara is because I got curious about it from the movie 10. The movie 10. Now, people remember the movie 10 because of a starlet who rose through it, but the real stars of that movie, the hilarious star of that movie, was Dudley Moore. Yeah. And if you ever need to laugh, Dudley Moore in that movie is spectacularly comical. It's about a middle-aged person going through a crisis, and you know what it's about, but Dudley Moore is just wonderful. But since then, and looking at Guadalajara a little bit in that film, I learned about people from Methodist churches and a couple from this. I didn't know anybody here raised their hand had gone down there. But I know people from here and other places have gone down there looking to emigrate. So why does that come to mind? Because I can't help but think, if the worst thing should happen to America, and America not be America as we've known it, where could we go? Well, we have a lot of family in North Germany, and they have said to us, North Germany, Hamburg, we take anybody, you can come here. And when we go there, they complain about the refugees there. But anyhow, you don't want that kind of thing rummaging through your head, because you can't expect to be healthy after it's spent some time there. What if? What if? One of the other things the doctor said was cultivate silence. Cultivate silence. Do any of you have good practices of cultivating silence? Where's Ken? Where's my Buddha? All right, some of you do. So you guys put your heads together, and someday in the future, here's some help with cultivating silence. And I'll be out there taking notes, I promise. Silence. I have done that. I do that periodically, but occasionally overwhelming forces come in and think, what if? Okay. A better suggestion the doctor came up with on CNN yesterday was nature. Spend more time in nature. Spend more time looking in nature and taking it in and enjoying it. Lately, Lori and I have been enjoying that park across, what is it called? Indian River Park, across from, and the main entrance, I think, is across from Jensen Beach, Brookdale. So you go in there, and there's a pond on the left, and there's a wonderful collection of waterfowl, ducks, I guess geese, and et al. Ibises. Oh, yeah, yeah. What? River otters. Oh, I didn't see them. Oh. Last week, there were 2 beautiful ducks, and we stopped to look at them. And I said to a woman who was also stopping and staring, "What kind of duck is that?" And she said, "It's an Egyptian goose." Now, you have mentioned that, Tia, so I knew you would know what that looks like. I mean, it's a beautiful bird, Egyptian goose. I guess it was on a tour and got off the boat or something. But anyway, we looked carefully. They were so beautiful. There were 3 babies with it, 3 baby Egyptian geese. So they were really enjoyable to watch, and we just stood and stared. And then one of the adults walked off, and we walked around and got back to the car. When I got back to the car, that adult goose was jumping from my car to the car next to it on the roof of the car, just fluttering back and forth between cars. And so we slowly approached our car to leave, thinking it'll go, it'll leave. And it did go. It left a blessing on the top of the roof of my car, our car. And so we stopped while it finished the blessing, and then we took off, thinking, well, it's supposed to be a blessing. What would you call it? All right, well, anyway, that doesn't shed much light on enjoying nature, but nature is nature. Remembering people who gave their best reminds us what we have been given and what we want to expect of ourselves. This congregation with a 30-year history, I like to repeat that. We're a young congregation. We're a young congregation, a 30-year history, has had quite a lineup of committed UUs and has quite a lineup of committed UUs. Those we have named on that prior list gave us their goods. We owe them, and we owe ourselves and our future to try to do no less. The closing hymn will be 119. It used to be called Once to Every Man and Nation. Some of you learned it that way. 119, 2 verses. It also seemed appropriate today. Once to every soul and nation comes the moment to decide. In the strife of truth with Please be seated. Now, a closing thought before the closing words. I was thinking, Jackie, next Sunday, you probably know the Hallelujah Chorus.
Yeah,
You do.
yes, I will.
Do you also know the Volga boat song that's been called the Death March?
Hold on, hold on.
I was thinking, maybe one of those would be, but then I'm not doing the service next week. I'm only kidding, I forgot, I shouldn't be suggesting.
Okay. She's like a jukebox. You could also do Finlandia if it goes out. For the freedom
Oh,
song.
yeah, that's a wonder. All right, whatever I just said, just scratch that.
Okay.
And the closing word is from Sarah Moores Campbell. We receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown.
Go in peace.
Remember, in about 15 minutes or so, we'll start our meeting in the other room. And everybody's invited to stay. Yes, Tia, if you